Welcome to another episode of Cryptotalks Live directly this week. So, hope you had a great week knowing that the market is somehow booming up. So, that's something we wanted to see. Personally, I'm afraid of how things are going. But let's check Tay and see his reaction, direct reaction on the market and what's happening. Hi, Tay. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Rudy. Good afternoon, all our followers on Crypto Talks. This is week 49. We are approaching end of the year, and as you mentioned, it is a very exciting week in the crypto year of 2023. A rather uh, unexpected pump in the
Yeah.
price. We saw definitely Bitcoin above $40,000. This is a very important psychological value from the trading perspective. And as we are speaking, it is breaking $44,000 with a 16% improvement in price since we were with you guys and girls last week. So in the past 7 days, Bitcoin made a 16.5% uh, up up gain in its price, trading currently at $44,000. AVAX as well was one of the coins that made some nice improvements, trading at today $26. From last week till today, AVAX, Bitcoin, and Dogecoin were among the top gainers, I would say. And the list goes on to Polkadot, even Shiba Inu. A lot of the altcoin movement has been shy, not as powerful as the Bitcoin movement, mainly because of dominance. From last week till this week, we saw the dominance drop by 3%. Last week, it was around 54% Bitcoin dominance. Now, Bitcoin is dominating 51% of the market. So, this 3% that has slipped into altcoins, mainly AVAX, is one of the big catchers of that. It seems that after the final move on Binance and what we have covered in the past few weeks, related specifically to regulatory news, this is the outcome of it. Um, Confidence in crypto markets is gaining and gaining momentum. It has been built on the false narrative of BlackRock having gotten the approval for a Bitcoin spot ETF. This was the famous Cointelegraph incident that happened and that we covered as well in the past few weeks. And now we're seeing that this momentum is picking up from that moment when Bitcoin broke the 30K. And now, 2 3 weeks later, we're visiting 44K. Perhaps if this momentum continues till end of the year, we might visit 50K. Otherwise, we are waiting until January 10 for the final decision on the spot ETF that could change the valuation of Bitcoin and the market caps of many altcoins and the cryptocurrency market in general. With this,
It's really
Rudy,
interesting how it turned out the past week, I
absolutely,
guess.
absolutely, and we, I mean, Rudy, we still had faith, and we still have faith in Bitcoin. We picked some important news for this week that put a price prediction of 500K per Bitcoin, according to Bloomberg analysts. Most importantly, we look at the on-chain data, and this is very important to take in consideration every time we are assessing the situation or assessing the market condition. Definitely in week 49, according to Glassnode, there has been a continuous gaining ground of Bitcoin price. Bitcoin continues to lead as one of the best performing assets globally in 2023. 2023, every week we were with you on Crypto Talks to cover the latest news and trends in Bitcoin. So this was the result of it. A year to date, 140% appreciation in price. It has more than doubled relative to gold, and yet still dominates for the rest of the digital asset industry. Sorry for that.
Okay, great. Thank you, Tay. So, as usual, be careful of how you deal, and especially now with the hype, people are coming back. Now you start seeing, people removing the white coats, removing the coming out of the dead. Maybe it's funny how this market, when it is related to money and financials, people are interested, whereas in reality they should always be interested. But that's how it is. So now more people will be on this, trying to uh, do fraud in your name and my name, and then I've detected a new way of fraud on my ledger, by the way, where you get invited for drops, airdrops, or for winning uh, certain competitions that we never participated on. So all you have to do is allow and accept the smart contract, and bam, this is when it hits you, even on the ledger. So always be careful of those ways, new ways of how uh, people are really trying to grab your attention. Meanwhile, many events happening in Dubai. I'll be there. I'll be back in less than 9 days. Uh, Digital transformation, banking and insurance, BABS and Global Blockchain Congress, Connect Finance. Uh, I'll be on a boat also in that event where I'm invited. It's an event, it's an interesting event coming from India. I'll be having 3 days of keynotes and workshops full of entrepreneurs coming from India to Dubai and staying in Dubai for 3 days, and then they are going back to India again. So it's an interesting experience, I would say. I'll brief you live from maybe there. Let me see the dates. Now, unfortunately, there will be no live, but there will be snippets if you follow us on, as usual, Instagram. Not to forget our second MENA, as mentioned before, our second MENA Top 25 Women in FinTech, Blockchain, and AI has been rescheduled till February. So make sure to nominate any ladies. And today I had an interesting interview with another leader in the space, which we will publish early next week. With that, I'll give the floor back again to Tay so he can brief us what happened this week and what are the selected news. Tay, the news is all yours again. We cannot hear you.
Thank you, Rudy. Again, it is week 49, and as we were mentioning before, related to the data around Bitcoin and the value of transactions that happen on the network, that we can take insights from, and we usually share them on a week-to-week basis at Crypto Talks. So for this week on Glassnode, as we were mentioning, that Bitcoin has outperformed gold in the year-to-date price action. It has even doubled the value of gold. But the interesting part of, or what I found interesting for this week, was the year to date number of inflows and outflows in Bitcoin on exchanges. For last year, it was almost approaching $1 billion, around $930 million. But for this week, it is around $3 billion. The What Glassnode is referring to in general, or a new piece of information that we discovered, the number of transactions is increasing among exchanges, but as well the value of those transactions is increasing, the weight of the transaction is increasing. So it's not only that there are more transactions coming in, but the value per transaction is becoming bigger and bigger. As we are coming closer to spot ETFs, to spot ETF decision, the investors and institutions are trying to leverage or to take a chance on that date by purchasing mainly bitcoins, and they're using the exchanges as this service provider. And perhaps this is as well why we saw the volatility in the market. Although it's a uptrend, yet it is volatile to go 16-20% from week to week. And keep in mind that the halving is coming up, which will give us a shock on the supply. Adding to that, the ETF decision. Adding to that, the necessity for those spot ETF uh, fulfillments to happen. They need to acquire this Bitcoin. So if I'm offering a spot ETF for 1,000 Bitcoin to my investors, then I need to have, as a fund, control over 1,000 Bitcoin. Uh, Coinbase is playing a major role as a custodian for many of the big hedge funds and investment funds, quoting, including BlackRock. So exchanges will definitely play a new vital role in service providing the Bitcoin ETFs. And this is gonna draw a total new scenario and a total new purchase behavior on exchanges. With this, we can start the news for this week. And for this week, we picked up, as we were discussing earlier, how the bets on gold and Bitcoin among investors are shifting to not only a better Bitcoin price for this year, or a Bitcoin all-time high. We don't know yet if it will be 44K, or are we going to see it at 50K towards end of the year. But gold hit a all-time high, uh, going above $2,100 in this week. And for this week as well, we wanted to pick up some of the ongoing Binance discussions and assumptions on how will Binance move after CZ. It seems that their new CEO is refusing to disclose the global headquarters location. Richard Tang has now big a big shoe to fill in within Binance as an organization, but as well within the community. Because remember that as much as Binance is driven by the standards of its good business, but yet it has a big community behind it that saw and sees that a crypto leader that is able to fulfill the promises of crypto land. Richard comes from a heavy traditional financial environment, history, background, and does not really, cannot, in my opinion, match with the CZ character. We cannot have an RT as we can have a CZ. So this will definitely put pressure more and more on the ongoing trial with Binance and CZ. But under the settlement with the US authorities, Binance has agreed to up to 5 years of oversight by an independent compliance monitor. The compliance monitor definitely is a key positive. This is what also the CEO of Binance, Richard Tang, has said. And this will give a lot of confidence of users, including institutional users, which are now approaching Binance in a very aggressive fashion. Remember, now in my opinion, the game now in the crypto market is no longer focused on acquiring the retail user, but more of acquiring the institutional user, and especially the ones related to spot ETFs. So here, Kraken, Coinbase, and the US regulated entities might have a better chance at uh, I won't say there is a war to win the war against Binance, but to be a very solid competitor to Binance and overtake some of the market share, especially in the US. Bloomberg as well is predicting a fresh crypto super cycle, pushing Bitcoin to $500,000. This is what Bloomberg analysts are putting today in the market. Again, when we hear such uh, bullish sentiment, then it is time to reason your logic and put the numbers in place and try to make an own judgment or own assessment of where the market is heading to. Such type of news, they build the hype that those large institutions are trying to build in so that they can dump on a Bitcoin ETF. Sorry, it is never a ongoing or it is never an ongoing uptrend. There will be a market correction. So people who rely on such news to make investment decisions, we warn and we carefully tell those people, please do not make your investment decisions based on such headlines. And the final piece of news for this week, or before the final piece of news, because the last one is a real important indicator on the future trend of payments, especially in the crypto space. But the SEC has postponed decision on the grayscale application for a spot Ethereum ETF. It is normal. This is a standard procedure where the commission needs more time to understand how the how to process the application in the first place and how to understand the um, pillars are set in place in order to make sure there is no market manipulation, there is investment protection mechanisms in place, and all the requirements are met for meeting the commission's requirements for a ETF in general. So instead of looking at a spot ETF for Ethereum this year, it will be pushed to January 25 in 2024. Last news for this week, and I think it is one of the most important trends to watch in the crypto payments space, the use of stable coins. Not only in payments, but we are seeing it enter the banking sector. And again, we want people to remember this statement from Cryptotalks, because not only the largest digital Brazilian bank, Nu, is working with Circle on integration of stable coins in their platform, but as well, Societe Generale will be starting to offer stablecoin accounts within their customer accounts. Stablecoins are going to be a revolution in the payments industry, because they give exposure to the US dollar on a global scale, and they allow merchants specifically to benefit from the power and the stability of the US dollar on a global scale, especially in areas where infrastructure is lagging behind or lacks the appropriate measures for people to transact. This was, in a nutshell, for this week, Rudy. Um, we will be with you definitely next week and for the few sessions
Very, very good. Thank you,
to
Taib.
end this year together.
The year is coming. The end of year is really coming. So it's really interesting. There's some questions which will display them directly here. And here we go. Sorry, just issuing. First one from Lama. When is spot ETF is planned and are there many?
Yes, I think there are a few applications open there. The most interesting one that people are following is the one that belongs to BlackRock, since it is one of the largest investment institutions in the world. So it makes sense to follow what BlackRock is doing. And I believe it is planned on January 8th, and the decision by deadline January 10 should be given. If there is no decision, what happens? I believe there will be a enforcement from the SEC to give a reply by higher courts. They cannot keep on dragging this for a long time. They have to give a definite answer, either yes or no, and if it's no, why?
I think Coinbase issued a statement today about come on guys, let there be so that's another push from the
Yes.
ecosystem, and I think it's important for that. But if it happens, what's your prediction on 11 of January?
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, on 11th of January, there will be definitely not $1 trillion addition to the current market cap. Let's start with this one. So, will we see a super, like, as it like the super wick, a super candle, a super green candle, going from 50K to 100K in few minutes? We don't know. Can it happen? Yes, it can happen. If enough money comes into the market, it can happen. Can it be manipulated? Yes, it can be manipulated. Are we now being manipulated? Possibility, yes. Everything is open. The best decision to make uh, is first one's own research, definitely. But at the same time, like, away from, yeah, this is not a financial advice, blah, blah, blah. Use your own logic, you know. Just people need to use their own logic, and they need to ask if they don't know. If we combine those two things together, then we live in peace. We don't have to fall prey to scammers and hopium sellers. And
Another question is CZ can't talk anymore or he's not allowed. He stepped
I
down.
think he's on Twitter. He's tweeting for every
I'll
now
be
and
I'll
then.
be I'll
Yeah,
be checking that in the background
yeah,
while we
yeah.
speak. We'll take another question.
I checked his tweets a few days ago. I think he's still tweeting, but he's in
Confidence
the
is good.
US.
Question from Marie. Confidence is good in this market. Will that be on Binance US, UA, or
USA.
anything? Will Binance US continue?
Again, that's a it's still early to answer that. One of the, in my opinion, one of the important things that Binance should do now is to declare a global headquarter and say, this is where we are on a global level. This is our headquarter, like Apple, like Tesla, like all those big brands. They have a headquarter. This is our headquarter. Mr. Regulator, you want to come talk to us? Come to talk to us in this headquarter, and from there they can work other regulatory and compliance issues. As long as there is no base, then the fluidness of hiding behind unregulated markets can continue to happen, and that's what the United States doesn't want. And that's why the decision to the SEC as well was time after time rejected, because the current practices that we see in the market allow for market manipulation, and this should not happen in spot ETFs.
Thank you, Tay. Ali, thank you for your comments. Interesting episode. Mirna, same thing. Long time indeed. Last question is from Ali. More and more regulated banks and financial institutions, I guess those are emojis, are coming in. With BlackRock and many others, and then today we talked about Bloomberg. I think that's the reality now.
Indeed.
If you remember, Tay, in 2018, there was some ETFs jumping in, but every time I learned the hard way. Every time an ETF bombed in 2018, market crashed.
Yeah.
So I don't know about
That
this
is
time.
exactly. This is the big question, Rudy. This is the answer to this is in the crystal ball, as they say. We're facing three market conditions: either an approval or a denial, or a short-term postponement of this decision. But at the end, there should be a decision made, either yes or a no. Now, logic would say we have a gold ETF, there should be a Bitcoin ETF. My opinion is it's a matter of time. It will happen, but it's a matter of time. Will it happen on the Gary Gensler time? I don't know. Will it happen on the future elections time? Also a possibility. But it seems that there is a sentiment this year in 2024. We will, in January specifically, a Bitcoin spot ETF will be approved. Maybe they will get a few applications approved, but this will open the door for fresh new capital to come into Bitcoin.
Anyway, let's see. Let's wait and see and how this goes. Meanwhile, there's a lot of bullishness, I think, at this point of time. Let's end the year on a good term. 2024 is promised to be good also, but let's hope it doesn't crash in the beginning, and then we'll wait
Yeah,
and see.
absolutely, absolutely.
So with that, I'd like to thank you, Tay. Hope you have a well recovery this week. You look better. We'll definitely talk more. See you soon, and see you all later on. And don't forget to join and subscribe. With our final word is not your keys, not
Not my
your
coins.
not your coins. So make sure you have a custodial one, and don't fall victim even if you have a custodial one. Safeguard your private keys and enjoy the investment part. With that, we'll see you next week.